Okay, hello everybody. Yes, I am back. I always start by saying okay, don't I? That's weird. Anyway, yes, I'm back. Apologies for the long delay. I could go into a long list of excuses, but I'm not going to bother doing that for two reasons. Firstly, I really don't want to patronize you lot, and secondly, I've only got about 2 hours worth of recording space on my hard drive, so I'm going to want to kind of rush through all that crap and not really bother letting you know why I'm so fucking lazy. Now, as you can see, today I'm doing a Let's Play of Anno 2070, a brilliant little city building slash real-time strategy game. It was released by someone through Ubisoft. I can't even remember the name, which is mad because it just showed up on the screen when I loaded the game. But aside from that, yeah, Let's Play. I'm going to do something slightly different with this Let's Play, rather than me just playing through the main game. I'm going to be using it as a kind of tutorial basis. I'm going to be going into details regarding the systems, how you set things up efficiently so they run quickly. The reason for this is because a friend of mine has recently picked up this game and he says he's having trouble getting to grips with it, and I tried explaining it to him sort of indirectly through the instant messenger program in which we use, and it's very hard to explain it without the game being there as visual representation. So the idea behind this Let's Play is to basically give a tutorial to him and to anyone else who wants to learn how to play this game, although I'm willing to bet most people already know. So yeah, that's the basic thing. Let's get on with it. Now, I'll be showing you continuous game, because it's the bog standard game. It doesn't have any storyline or anything on it. It's just you building a map and having fun. Now, technically,
configuration of personal mission objectives.
Shut up, Eve.
Completed.
Now, technically, it doesn't really matter which difficulty you choose, because I'll be showing you how to tweak all the settings. You come here to game settings. This is important, and you're given a list of everyone who appears in the game. You're there, and then this person in the next box is kind of your rival. It's the person who you'll be vying for control of islands for. Now, because this is going to be a tutorial, I'm going to get rid of her. And if it's your first time playing the game, I'd actually recommend that as well. Get rid of the second person, because that then gives you free reign of the map to do whatever the hell you like with. Now, as for the rest of these people are not people who will be playing the game. So they're not your rivals as such. What these people are is they just sit on their ark and they will occasionally fire off quests at you. You can go to them to buy materials if you're running short, and they will go to your depot to buy things from you if you decide to sell. So having these people is very useful. Each one, of course, represents, you've got Global Trust with Rufus Thorne, you've got Eden Initiative, Jan Rodriguez, you've got the EAAT, or is it no, SAAT. I keep wanting to call it the ETA. I don't know why I keep wanting to call it the ETA, but that's weird. Salma Davy is the SAAT, the scientist group. Having those three is pretty much necessary. Trenchcoat is slightly different. What he does is he pops in to the map for about 45 minutes to sell you specialized gear that you might not be able to buy elsewhere. Hiro Abashi, you can get rid of him if you really want. He's kind of a third wheel character. He just sort of sits on the map, doesn't do anything, and complains if you start using underwater stuff. So you can get rid of him if you want, or you can keep him because you can buy submarines from him. It's up to you whether you want to keep him or not. You can add in other characters, but considering we want the game as easy as possible at first, it's probably best to not have them around. Particularly Hector, because he's a pirate and he will attack you on a constant basis. Now, faction selection. Now, I could go on for hours about the differences and pros and cons about Eden versus Global Trust. It really comes down to a case of personal choice. I personally always prefer to play as Eden Initiative, but it's entirely up to you. The reason I like the Eden Initiative is because they can have a positive eco balance, which aids in production when you're growing things like tea and rice and all the growing things. But of course they're not quite as efficient as global altruism. Personally, I like Eden Initiative, but that's just me. Now, map size. I'm going to be using a small map for this one. 17 to 29. Yeah. I personally recommend a small map because it means that everything you need should be relatively close to one of your starting islands. And because of that, it means you don't have to set up massive trade routes across half the map. That's not technically a problem, but it can be very annoying if you need things quickly. Okay, once you've selected all the characters you want showing up, you go into game settings. This is the kind of thing that most people would easily be able to work out, but I want to go into sort of the details about all this stuff. Selecting all these different options obviously changes the difficulty of the game, so you can tailor a specific game to your own personal tastes. Now, refund costs basically is if you say misplace something, or find that something doesn't fit into the sort of grid system that you're using, you can obviously destroy it. But when you destroy it, in sort of previous city building games, you tend not to get any materials back, but that's what the refund of construction is. If you destroy something, you can either have full, meaning you get everything you spent on this building back. You can get half, or you can turn it off. Obviously full is easier. I prefer to have large islands because I like building really big cities. Fertilities. Obviously having lots of fertilities is a very good thing. You can have, you got many, medium and few. Obviously many is easy, few is hard. Again, raw materials, you want as lot as possible on your first playthrough. The easier you can make things for yourself on your first time playing the game, the better it is on you. So obviously, environmental emphasis, positive, obviously. Obviously we want the new add-on features on. Excuse me. Now, quests is kind of a bone of contention with me. While I like quests and will accept that the reward you get from quests are very good, they can be very distracting. But to be honest, I kind of like the addition of quests in the main game, or in the continuous game I should say. It's a nice little thing that sort of distracts you from the monotony of city building, because it can get a bit samey when you're just doing building. So the fact that they included quests for you to complete, I think was actually a very nice touch in the game. Now, the level you set the quests up to, they say that, according to the sort of difficulty level at the bottom, frequent is apparently easier, and I think the reason they say that is because it means you get lots of rewards, lots of extra materials and licenses, and I'll get into that in a minute. I personally prefer to set it to either medium or rare, mostly because I don't like to be bombarded with quests all the time. I like to have some time to build my city. But if you want lots of quests, you're welcome to set it to whatever level you like. Personally, I usually select medium, so we'll go with that for this example. Now obviously you want city, environmental and technological disasters to be set to easy, because hopefully you don't want them to happen. Or if they do happen, you want them to be rare and easy to deal with. Now the random value is just a number that is assigned to your map. Think of it like the seed used in a Minecraft map. It's just a string of numbers that creates the map in question. It can be anything, it really doesn't matter. I don't even keep track of those. Okay, so that's the game world itself set up. Now, start conditions. Obviously, you can choose to have the map revealed or not. I like to have the map not revealed because I like the idea of the exploration of the map, revealing all the terrain, all that good stuff. Obviously you want your start balance to be as high as possible, because the more money you have, the better. Now licenses, they're a bit different. Licenses, again, you want as many as possible to make things easy for yourself. Licenses, basically, they're kind of an alternate form of credit. Whereas the credits is what you use to spend on buildings and to buy trading items. Licenses are used to buy specialist items that can do sort of various special things. Like sometimes they can increase your mining for copper, or they can give you bonus power for 30 minutes, or they can increase the speed of your vehicles. And there's a whole load of different things that you can get, and to buy them you use licenses rather than normal cash. So obviously having lots of licenses is good. Now you don't earn licenses in the same way you earn credits, obviously. Licenses are mostly earned through the completion of quests, which is why having lots of quests can be a good thing if you want lots of licenses. So, you know, everything sort of links to everything else. Now your starting faction, you can, as I said earlier, you can select your faction at the beginning, but you can actually choose to have all the factions, because of course there are 3 factions. Well, technically there are 2 factions and a third tech faction, which isn't technically a faction in and of itself. You can't start off as techs, which I think is a bit of a shame. But you can choose to start off as one faction and already have the techs, both factions, or both factions and the techs. Now, obviously having both and the text at the beginning is easier, because it means you don't have to pay for them later on in the game. That said, it's worth remembering that it's kind of technically easier to just deal with one group at a time. So even if you start with both and text, focusing on just one group at a time makes the game much simpler. So I usually start with one starting faction, because by the time the other groups show up, I've got more than enough money to buy their technology from them. Now, starting situation and ships are actually linked over here. You can either start with a warehouse already stationed on an island, which I don't like to do because I like to be able to scope out my islands before I land on them, which means you have to select a ship. You can have a command ship, a merchant fleet, or a war fleet. Now, be aware that starting with a merchant fleet or a war fleet, whilst technically easier, does mean you have more money going out at the beginning of the game, because you have superfluous boats. And boat maintenance, just them existing on the map, costs money. So personally, I always just like to have the command ship. It's just one single ship. You can use it for transport and for basic defense. And you can use it for scoping out the islands, and it's a reasonably fast ship. Arc storage. Now, this is one of the things that my friend always complained about, because when I sent him off to look at videos of other people's tutorials, they were always banging on about arc storage and how you should have played the game before and be bringing it into it in a tutorial. The first time you play through the game, you're supposed to have already played the game. It's like, yeah. Anyway, arc storage is basically, if you play through the game, like, say you do this tutorial and you decide that you built some stuff that you'd like to be able to use in another map, you can put things on your arc and transport them to another thing, which is a great idea, because your personal arc is a permanent feature. It means that it's always there. So anything you put on there will always be on there unless you take it off on another map, which is very useful. So I will be leaving arc storage on, but I won't be using it. I don't even think I've got anything on there. Now, peace. Now, because this is a tutorial, and because you want the game to be as easy as possible, set peace to infinite. That hero guy I mentioned, who was kind of the third wheel who just hovers around, he doesn't like you very much when you start expanding onto underwater plateaus. And he will sometimes like to declare war on you. So setting peace to infinite is usually a good idea. It also means that if you accidentally piss someone off, they can't declare war on you for any reason whatsoever. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about setting it up. I don't think there's anything more important. If there is, I can probably mention it in the main game. Now, win conditions. I don't have any win conditions at all. I just turn them all off, because I like to be able to play the game for the game. So once you're sure that you've got all this stuff set up, It's everything that you want it to be. You've selected your faction, you've got a small map size, you can start. And yay, that explanation only took me a quarter of an hour. Yeesh. I would be honest, I like the look of the original world before they added the Deep Ocean expansion. I wish you could change it back. I like the original look of the world rather than this stupid pixel thing. And of course I like the original music on the menu as well. I think the new music they've added in the Deep Ocean expansion isn't as good. Because I've only recently purchased the Deep Ocean expansion. Yay for loading! Ark! Whee! Oop. Bit laggy. That'll be because I'm recording. Yay. Anyway, ooh, island. What we got? Let's watch it reveal itself. Which I think is also a very neat feature. Let's see, we've got rivers. Ah! We have a place for a hydrothermal dam. Not hydrothermal. What's the word I'm looking for? Construction of a dam, whatever. We've got a dam. That river is out of the way. That's pretty good. Got mine over there, mine over there, another one over there. 3 there. Interesting. Oh, what are you doing? Stop that. Oh, it's because I'm recording. Anyway, let's have a look around at the other island. Yay, my ship's on the go and my computer's completely spazzing out because it doesn't like this. Ah, God. What we got? Now you see what I mean? If you look at the top corner, you probably can't see it actually because the size of the text is probably minuscule on that YouTube thing. But I've already got money coming out because I have this ship here. Wow, this frame rate is really stuttering. Not liking it, Captain. You can't do it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Hold that thought. There we go, that's a bit better. I had to reduce the graphical settings down. Ugh, horrible. Doesn't look as good as it does in Ultra, but, well, you have to make sacrifices in order for YouTube to work. Now, what was I saying? To be honest, I think I'm going to land on the first island. Of the two, it looked better. The things you want to look for when you're establishing an island. Firstly, a river that's kind of out of the way, and this one is definitely out of the way, rather than one that goes tearing halfway across your island. So this one is pretty good. It sort of curves around, it keeps itself to itself for the most part. It's a good little river. It's got a place for a dam, which means you can get 500 points of power later on. That's very good. And it's got these 4 mine points here, which is also very, very good. Now, let's see, where's a good place to settle? Could do that one. Also, choosing the location to settle your port is also very important. You tend to get 1 or 2 big pieces of beach, and then one that doesn't have really much at all, and then one that's sort of medium, and then several small ones. Picking which one you want is useful, very useful in point of fact. Anyway, we should probably establish our settlement soon because we're hemorrhaging money. That's what I was saying. Yeah, because you start off with a ship rather than a warehouse, it basically means that it will settle up here. Plonk it bar. Yay! Yeah, you will always start the game losing money because everything costs maintenance money, and well, yeah. Zoom in. Ooh, doesn't it look grainy and horrible? Okay. First thing to do, you want to be able to get money coming in. So obviously you need people, and that includes building one of these. Oh yeah. Okay, this is a tutorial. I should probably be explaining what the hell I'm clicking on. Okay, you got your little hotbar down here. This one is, of course, building it. To be honest, this is the basic stuff. You should know this, unless you really haven't played the game before. In which case, you know, there is a kind of mission mode, you know, in the main game. Now, you want to build your city centre as far inland as possible. So this is a nice, good place, I think.
Additional buildings now available.
Yes, well done, thank you. Anyway, I'll show you, talk about that later. Okay, now you've got your city centre. Now all people need to be connected to a city centre, and you can't actually do anything without the city centre. Now, once you build a city centre, the next best thing is to put roads around it. Yeah, your different classes of people come up at this little bar down here. Eve, picture of Eve represents your basic infrastructure stuff. Things like warehouses, depots, roads, fire, police, ambulance when you unlock them. Next to that is your level 1 class citizen, and then the level 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the way up. So, yeah, place road completely around this. Like that. And then go back to your level 1 citizen, and you want to build some houses. Now you can only build them in, you notice you can build them in strips, but only ever strips of 2. Well, there's a reason for that.
New buildings available for construction.
Because there has to be roads on touching every building, you basically have to build them in little sections like that. Alright, build as many houses as you can. You can build them in pretty much any order you want, frankly. There's no limit to it. But you'll probably get about this many buildings out of it. Out of the amount of bricks that you've got. Because you see, building houses costs 2 building modules, they're called, but I just call them bricks because they look like bricks. And you'll notice that the people will start flooding into your place. Now that you have people, this is a very, very, very important thing to remember.
Thanks to you.
At the moment, these people have what are referred to as ascension rights. That means that once they're satisfied enough to be able to up themselves to the next level, the sort of the second class of citizen, that means they'll do it automatically. This is a bad thing, because when you increase a level of someone, it uses up some of the building modules and tools and other building materials that you've got stored away. And because you want to have those for your own personal use, rather than just having your population use them all up, it's usually a good idea to keep that off. Now what you do in that is you click on a building. Well, there's actually 2 ways you can do it. First, you can click on your city centre and click that little red button up there, and basically it turns it off. Or if you don't want that irritating little arrow hovering
Isn't it
over
gorgeous
there,
here? Oh, life can be so
you
good.
click on a building and you select the little arrow here. They both do the same job. Click it and ascension rights are denied, and you'll get a little arrow thing floating up there. How's our population coming in? We've got 75 out of 100, possible 128. And our money's just gone into the positive amount. See, this is a good thing. So, you've built however many buildings you're capable of building at the beginning of the game. Probably not that many, I would imagine. But that's kind of the point. Now, let's see. You've got your people. You've been sure to deny them ascension rights. The next thing I want to point out is this. This up here in the top corner is your tax band.
Isn't it gorgeous here?
Shut up.
Oh,
Stop
life
talking.
can be so good.
Now, basically, the different levels of tax obviously affect your population in different ways. Having them in green or light green is perfectly fine. Having them in yellow, not so good. Having them in orange or red is bad. Now, at the moment, of course, you have access to all this stuff, but if things start going badly for your civilization, you won't have the option of having green, of either type of green, yellow, or even orange. Sometimes the only thing you can select is red, which means, well, it's not very good.
Things just keep getting better in this
It's
city, and it's
usually
all thanks to
recommended
you.
that you can set it to light green, because the tax band also affects how people come into your city. If you set the tax band to yellow, which you should only really do if you're really pressing for cash, it means that your population will remain stable. If you set it to orange, it means people will slowly trickle out of the city. Red, people will flood out the city. And the opposite applies for green. So if you have it at light green, people will come into your city slowly. And then dark green is, of course, people will just love your city.
With you
So
on our side,
setting
we'll
it
work out somehow.
to light green is a good thing. Okay, so we've got population, we've got money coming in rather than going out. This is a good thing. Next thing we want to have to do is worry about some of the things that the level 1 people can construct. Now, we ran out of building modules, which are of course necessary to build houses. Houses are a good thing because it means more population, means more tax. But, so first thing we have to do is build some building modules. Now you'll notice that when you click on the icon, you get 2 items up here. Because it's what we call, what's the term? Production chain, that's it. You have to build both buildings in order to actually be able to gain building modules. The other thing you have to do is connect it to your warehouse. So go to your main depot, warehouse, whatever you want to call it, build a road off, and then select the basalt extraction. Now these things are pretty nifty. Plonk one down wherever, it's not really as close to your depot as possible. Now, this building is a bit different. You'll notice that when you placed it down, it had an area of effect, almost. But that's not quite true as to what it actually is, because this building requires secondary buildings to be built for it. What that means is, when you click it, you'll see that its production, it's not doing anything. What you have to do is you have to click this button here, this big button here, in order to actually build the production buildings. You place one there, and it's happy, and it starts production. Then you can go back up to here, build one of those opposite, and plonk. Now that one doesn't have any building modules, but you'll notice that it also has an area of effect. What that means is any necessary buildings in that area of effect will be connected to that building. So if I was to place the basalt extraction sort of over here, and that building over there, it wouldn't connect them in the production chain. The other thing to remember is that items are persistent things in the world. So the basalt extraction will produce its, it's creating? Granules. And then they have to be transported from basalt extraction to the smelter to be made into the building modules. That happens in real time. And you'll see a little car appear randomly. Here, I'll speed it up and see if you can see it. There it goes. The little car that appeared from there to there, basalt extraction. It's taking the granules from there to there. Because they're right next to each other, obviously it doesn't have very far to go. But it's worth remembering that that's important. It's necessary. Now, in order to get a decent amount, I would highly recommend having several of these. 3 in point of fact. So you can place them all down like that. And then you place these opposite, and everybody's happy. Oop, auto save.
Game saved.
Yay. Oh good. So now we have lots of basalt extraction going on. This is obviously a good thing. So it means we got lots of building bricks coming in. People will be very, well, you'll be very happy because it doesn't really affect people in any significant way. Okay, so building modules are coming in. 3 is usually the amount. You can build extra if you feel you need it. I've never really needed more than 3 because I move through the game slowly. That's what you have to remember. If you move through the game too quickly, you will be overwhelmed. I'll explain what that sidebar I keep clicking on is. Anyway, now you'll have noticed that we have a power shortage, but now we can build a wind farm. Now, this area of effect you will see here that it has basically means nothing, no other wind farms can be placed in this point. So placing it as far away from each other as possible is a good thing, because if they overlap too much, the productivity goes down. Obviously this is a bad thing. You want the productivity to be as high as possible. Put 2 of those, that should give us enough power for at least the beginning. Now, the other thing that's probably going on right now is that, no, they haven't run out of it quite yet. Yeah, they are about to though. Now, you'll notice that they are about to run out of fish. Now that we have some bricks coming in, we can build a couple of fisheries. And 2 should frankly be more than enough to satisfy our citizens. A couple of fisheries, that need is now sorted. The basic idea is that you have to just build 1 of everything, or at least a couple of everything around here. Now, I mentioned that fish is a need.
This is an adventure, but we're gonna make it.
Now, the needs of your people is represented in this bottom corner down here. They have food, community, drink, and activity, which isn't active yet. Food is happy. They have fish, and they are very happy with the fish. But if I hadn't built those fisheries, the fish stored in the warehouse would have run out. In fact, it has run out. When an item runs out,
better in this city, and it's all thanks to you.
Shut up. This bar here would start decreasing. When it hits the bottom, they'd be very, very upset with you. Obviously, because they have no food. So keeping on top of what your citizens need via this box down here is very, very important. Now, the need for community is an easy one. It basically means they have to be connected to your city centre. And frankly, if they're not connected to your city centre, you're not doing your job right. The other thing they need, you may notice, is, if you click on there, they have food, fish, they have community. The other thing they need is drink, which requires tea. And we have tea production plants available right here. And this is something I forgot to mention earlier actually, I should have done that. You'll notice here at the top of the screen, next, you've got all your wonderful information up here. You've got your money, your licenses, money coming in or out, which is actually coming out at the moment. That's because I've got 2 fisheries and I probably shouldn't have that many. And you've got the population of your civilization. Next to that, you'll have the name of your island. Always good. But you can change if you're desperate, but I'm not that bothered. Below the name, you'll see resources. Now, the main starting islands, the islands that I would recommend you start on, tend to have tea, rice, and coffee. And a question mark, but I'll tell you what that is later. what that basically means is you can plant things for tea, rice and coffee production on the island perfectly fine. No problems whatsoever. Now, next up we need to build some tea production because our population needs it quite badly. However, we're kind of running out of room. This one, well, as you can see, most of what it's doing is being taken up by the module construction, but that's fine, because what we can now do is if we click on this Eve thing, we can build a depot. Now what these do is basically extend the area of effect that you can build production buildings on. They act like the city centres do for your population. However, the important thing to remember as well is that the more depots you have on your island, the more storage space you have, because every depot increases the amount of storage space that you can have, because every depot has its own separate storage space. The other thing to remember is that all depots are connected. So, if an item goes into one depot, it automatically exists in all the depots on the island. Now this is important to remember for something I will explain later. But for now, let's just focus on producing some tea, because it's kind of important. Now you're probably only going to need 2 to start off with. Probably. Don't quote me on it. Again, much like your granule constructor, you need to have additional side buildings that connect to the main thing. Now they don't have to connect directly, they don't have to be next to it, but they have to be in its area of effect, basically. Let's do that. Now, you'll notice that the tea is sort of slowly sprouting through the thing, and eventually those things are going to start spinning around and the productivity is going to go shooting through the roof. Tea is now being produced, sort of. And if you speed up time, you'll eventually see a little tea icon. There it goes. Whee! Tea! The tea is now being transported straight into the warehouse. So the closer your production buildings are to your warehouse or depot or whatever you want to call it, the better. Because things get transported in real time. You have to remember that. That is so important. Everything happens in real time. So, tea is being produced, and you'll notice that the little bar here is going up. If we speed up time, you'll see it go up and up and up. And as it goes up, you'll notice the amount of money the people are willing to pay also increases. You'll also notice that you can no longer actually set your tax band to red. It's vanished. That no longer exists because they can't be made that unhappy. But it also means you can't charge them that much money for things. But that's fine. Hopefully you will never, ever have to set your tax band to red. If you do, you're kind of not playing the game, well, not really so much properly, but you're not playing the game sort of well enough. So now that we have all this production coming in and everything's all good and shiny and nice and pleasant and people are happy, let's go exploring. Tell him to go to the top corner of the map. The brilliant thing is, because your units they'll do this automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, you may have noticed that we've still got money coming out.
Located.
Yay, island. So we've still got money going out. So what we could do is we could build some new houses. So let's do that. Lots of new houses, shiny new people will move into your city, and they'll start paying through the nose.
But you on our side will work it out somehow.
So we can now go up to 240 people. Yay! This is good, because in order to build a concert hall, I need 144 eco-workers. I've got 142, so
Additional buildings now available.
now I can build a concert hall. Now the interesting thing to remember is that your population will complain at you if you leave one of their available needs unsatisfied for too long. they'll kick up a fuss and say, hang on, you know, you should be building this right now. You know, you need to start listening to us, satisfying our needs, and blah 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 blah. It's all fun and good and blah 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 blah. So don't leave a need unsatisfied for too long, or they will start to kick at you, and they'll give you a time limit in order to build it. For the most part, that's easy, but some needs can be hard to satisfy. So don't leave it too long. So let's build a concert hall. Plop one right there. Ta-da! Now you'll find that all
Maybe
four
life here
needs
isn't perfect, but we're getting
are
close.
satisfied. Everyone is happy, and they're paying you lots of money. Well, sort of. They would be paying you lots of money, except for the fact you've got tax going out for things as well. But with the population still moving in, so the amount of money that we've got coming in will slowly increase. Let's speed up some time. Watch my population zoom through the roof. Oh, by the way, if you want to speed up time, it's
Maybe life here
the
isn't
plus
perfect, but we're
button
getting close.
on your keyboard. Minus slows down time, which is good if you've got a bit of an emergency going on. You can pause the game with P, but it also means you can't interact. So if you want to deal with an emergency slowly, use the slow time button. Pausing can give you time to think if you need it, but you probably won't need that, I'm hoping. I'm just telling my ship to go zooming around the land and uncover any islands. So, what we have here is a perfectly stable level 1 civilization. We've got more than enough people in order to give us a positive balance income. We're pleasing them with tea and fish. In fact, we're probably overproducing it. Yeah, if you look... another thing about the Dippers actually, if they have a little arrow here, it means that your storage of that item is going up, which kind of technically means you're overproducing. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you do have to be careful, because if you run out of room, then you're going to have to turn all your production things off. Again, we'll get to that later if it happens. But what we currently have here is a perfectly workable level 1 civilization. It has a slight negative eco balance, but that's understandable. Your eco balance can go down to minus 10, I think, before it has any actual negative effect on any of your production. Okay, what else can I talk about? Let's see. Oh yes, this sidebar here. Anytime something happens, you'll get a little note here, so expanded construction options and land found. These things are worth sort of mentioning and keeping in the back of your mind, because you'll also get emergency things coming up here. So if you have, say, a fire breaks out, it'll come up with a little thing up here saying, help, there's a fire. So dealing with that as soon as possible is so important. But, and if you want to dismiss that list of stuff, you just right click and they vanish. Now quests appear below this little options bar here, which is very important to remember. I haven't actually found anybody yet, which is rather impressive. But I'm sure we'll run into one of them eventually. I like to uncover the edge of the map first, and then I'll send it over to explore everything else. Now, our options are quite simple, really. We can expand onto level 2 population, because our workers are very, very happy. If we'd want to expand onto level 2, we set the tax band to dark green. What this then does is it kind of says, I am ready for ascension. Makes it sound like something out of Stargate. I'm ready for ascension, but it's up to you when that happens. That's very, very good. You should always be the one to decide when they upgrade their civilization.
Things just keep getting better in
The
this
reason for
city,
that
and it's
is
all
because,
thanks
as
to
I
you.
said, if you let them do it, they'll just eat through all your supplies and you'll be left with nothing. So denying them ascension rights is very, very important. I wish there was an option so you can have ascension rights automatically turned off, but there isn't. Ow. Why did I decide to do this in a week when I've got a mouth ulcer? I will never know. Okay, how long have we been recording? It's coming up to 15 minutes. Alright. I'll show you up to level 2, Civilization,
This is an adventure.
and call
but
it a
I
day.
think we're gonna make it.
So you set the tax band up to dark green. Hold the plus button to speed up time, and you'll see all the arrows suddenly appear on all your houses. And
Game
the
save.
game is saving. Forgive the slight pauses every time it decides to do that. I can't technically control it. I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing as such, but yeah. Anyway, come on. There we go. Okay. However, simply giving them the right to ascend isn't
Isn't it
quite
gorgeous
enough,
here?
because
Oh,
if you
life
click
would be
on your
so good.
city centre, you'll see that eco workers have a little arrow and it's saying 6. That's the number of people that you can ascend. If you hold down the plus button again,
Anyone interested in doing a little business with old Trenchcoat?
hey, Trenchcoat showed up. I told you, he shows up randomly every once in a while. And basically this number will slowly increase until it hits a cap of some kind. And the cap is usually a certain percentage, because you have to have a certain number of level 1 citizens. See, look, it's hit the cap of 24, which means 24 buildings. What is it? 8, 16, that's 32. So we've got 32 buildings there, and 24 of them can be ascended. That's basically 3/4. Now I noticed that you ran into Davy over there, but didn't actually activate anything, so go there. In fact, first come here, and then we'll go sideways. I'll do it. Trenchcoat showed up.
How you doing?
Now his timer is there, and it's sort of slowly ticking down. He sells you your basic items, building modules, and tools. That's quite useful. He also has these specialist items. Now, as I said, these things cost licenses, and you can buy all the specialist items. I'll go into details. Sort of, you can pretty much work out what they are just by hovering over them. But usually, we've got a robust firebox. Increases the productivity of coal power stations on one of your islands. Now, for someone who's playing as eco, those are useless, because coal power stations are tycoons only. It's got reinforced armor, which increases the hit points of one of your vehicles. Now, different items are used in different ways, which is usually regarded by this little icon here in the bottom corner. If it's yellow, it probably means it's loaded into your warehouse
New island located.
as an item. If it's blue, it means it can
Hello.
be used.
I'm Professor Davy.
Go away.
I hope you don't.
If it's blue, it means it can be used in one of your vehicles. I think if it's red, it can be used in your arc. I think those are the only colours you get. Anyway, now we found Professor Davy. Yay! Again, you can buy both goods. Of all the... Go away. Hang on.
Welcome to SAAT.
Sorry about that. People messaging me all the time. You can buy tools and items much like you can from Trenchcoat. It's exactly the same deal. Again, you can have different items. Some can be loaded up into ships, some can be loaded up into all sorts of different things. Anyway, time to start revealing the map, because I like having the map revealed.
Your
Oh,
vote for the
hello.
principles of the Ecos brought you to our attention. By the way, I'm Yana Rodriguez from...
Hey, now I found Yana. Apparently I'm not alone. Anyway. What?
We can't do this on our own. Will you help us?
Oh yeah, if you see a little arrow hovering over something, it means there's a quest. It wants me to find 2 architects. Now these are pretty neat. This is it's obviously this is a quest. What this basically means is you have to zoom in very close, and you see little people there, highlighted in blue.
You did it, right? Yeah, I knew you'd make it.
Simple. That was a very easy quest. You get those kind of quests from both your people and from...
Unknown
Oh
coast.
yay, another island. You get those kind of quests from all sorts of different people. Basically says find a certain person. What you have to do is you have to zoom into the map, click on the people who are highlighted in blue. That's basically how you do it. It really is as simple as that. Okay, so let's start ascending people.
Respect. Thanks to you.
Click
we're
on them
living
and
the
you
good
have
life.
2 options. You can either click on this arrow here, or you can just hit the U
Registering
button,
change in demographics.
which is easy. Now the second you get your first person of the next level, again, deny them ascension rights. They're so important, and then set their tax band to light green. Anyway, let's ascend all these people. Now, worth pointing out that when you ascend... Oh, I've run out of tools. Okay, so I can't do that. Set you back to green for now. Again, you can only ascend them if you have the abilities to do it. If the materials, that's what I'm looking for. Now that we have access to our next class of citizens, you'll notice that we have this whole new area, a whole slew of different stuff there. We also have new things here, and new things here. Now these are ornamental buildings, apparently, which you can build this, that, and the other. Now, once you get to level 2, the most important thing you can do now is construction of tools. Sorry, that was a sort of a brain fart then. Now I'm going to build tools down here next to these 3 things, but we can't build our depot down there, which sucks. So what we have to do is we have to what I call depot hopping. Oh no, wait, we actually need tools in order to build depots. Okay, I'm going to have to go buy some tools. See, this is kind of my point. Sometimes I forget about stuff like this. We'll buy some tools from Yana, I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Because she's kind of the closest to where my person is. So let's buy some goods. Basically, send a ship of yours over there. Then you just
From
select.
biotech to green tech, we've got it all.
You select what you want. It's going to cost me 1,000.
It's a deal.
That's actually kind of cheap. We'll then send our person on the way back. Yay, watch him fly through the area.
Locating island.
Ooh, big island. Ooh. Wow, that's a cool looking island. Very nice. Very good. So we'll be using that island later, I'm sure. Now what happens when you buy something is the items are loaded onto your ship. You then have to take them from your ship and load them into your warehouse in order to be able to use them. Otherwise, it's pointless. So, anyway, let's do what I call warehouse hopping. That'll do it. Oh, now we've hit level 2, we can actually upgrade our warehouses, which is done by this tiny little button here in the top corner, which costs me 1 building module and 2 tools. Upgrading is good, because when your warehouses hit level 3, it means they gain a little flying machine thing that you see zipping about here. This little hovering craft here, that is basically what you get when your warehouses hit level 3. Your first depot gets one automatically on an island. First one gets one automatically. The rest have to earn one by hitting level 3. That basically means that things can be picked up automatically rather than just having the trucks deliver things. it's a slightly quicker way of getting your stuff picked up. Now, tools. Again, tools has a production chain, but it's slightly more complicated than before because it involves 2 items being combined into one, and then that item being combined into another item. What does that mean? Well, basically it means you have to have a very complex production chain. Roads sorted. Now, for tools, what I would recommend is 2 iron ore mines, 1 coal mine, and how many of these should we have? Quite a few. I think we'll build 2 of these and 2 of these. Now, those buildings will have severely hurt the eco balance, as you can't see it, but it's now dropping. It's now gone down to -22. That and the fact I'm also very low on power, so I'm going to have to build another wind turbine, which I can't do because I'm out of tools. Okay, we'll just wait for the tool production line to start up. Now these things are going to be sort of running themselves ragged around here. Blah, blah, blah. See how all the vehicles are moving around, they're delivering stuff, and they're picking stuff up, and they're going to all sorts of different places. As you can see, tool production is kicked off. There we go. And it will run very efficiently, this should do. In fact, I may be overproducing some of the stuff, but it doesn't technically matter if you overproduce some stuff. So now we have tool production coming in. Now we don't have to worry about running out of tools anytime soon. Let's build another power plant. Now, in order to get positive eco balance, we need to be able to build a weather control station. How are we doing time-wise? Okay, we've just hit the hour mark. Okay, I think we're doing good for this. If I can, I want to try to get this one down to about an hour and a half. That way, hopefully, it won't be uploading to YouTube all day long. And in order to do that kind of... In order to get... Because you see, when you can't build, you notice a lot of this stuff is greyed out. That's basically because... you don't have the required population in order to be able to
Can you
use
take
this.
care of this for the organization? Every second counts.
Oh, good. Some quests you'll get won't have a timer on them, but although admittedly most quests do. Well, we should be okay. Now, the next production thing we need is wood. Wood is good. What I usually recommend is one of those,
Negative environmental
one of
influences
those,
reduce fertility.
and then another one on that side. 2 actual sawmills for every tree nursery you use. Very useful. In fact, actually, I just realised I did that wrong.
Registering improvement in eco balance.
You see what I mean about if you place something in the wrong place, you get all the stuff back? That is exactly what I just did. Because I deleted that stuff, I got all the items I used back. It's obviously a very good thing. And this is what I tend to do. I tend to do that, that. More tools, there we go. Now, you will always be running out of something at some point. Now, this is going to be producing wood. This will give us probably more than enough wood than we will ever need. But, it's a good thing, obviously. Now, we need more level 2 workers coming in. So, let's get the arrows back. Wait for that number to stop climbing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. Okay. And wait for 12 tools. That's 13 tools. Okay, there we go.
Honestly, without you, we never would have made it this far.
Saving again.
Game saved.
There we go. Yay. So, now I can get up to a population of eco employees up to 360 people. This is a good thing. Because I need 360. I can get 360. Yes. Speed up time. Come on. In you come, population. Come on. Keep coming. Yay, I've got a positive balance
Sometimes I
again.
dream that I'm lying amidst the lush green meadow, just relaxing and enjoying.
Now, weather control stations, very, very useful. Plonk one down, and you'll notice it has a pretty massive area of effect. It's almost ridiculous how big its area of effect actually is.
Registering improvement in eco balance.
But you should have more than enough space to be able to build quite a few of them.
Energy supply inadequate.
But the other problem is, of course, is they do eat up quite a bit of energy, which means you'll be building even more energy plants.
Fertility values rising.
There we go. Now we're sorted. So, 3 weather control stations have given me a nice positive eco balance. Positive eco balance is, of course, a good thing, because it means the production of your plants is increased more than 100%. Okay, now, this is, of course, everything we've been able to get with just this small, minuscule set of houses we've got here. So let's do some expanding. Best to build them in blocks. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Don't want that to go up yet. You build them in blocks, you build them in sets, things like that all the time. Keep going like that. So I've been mostly covering, to be honest, that's most of the basics of the game, to be perfectly honest. I mean, obviously there's a lot of other things that you can go on about. Eventually I'll gain the ability to build fire stations. Again, those buildings have an area of effect. If a house is covered, if an emergency happens, it's fine. The interesting thing to remember about stuff like that is they're not necessary, technically, until you actually have an emergency, and you probably won't even remember they're there until you have an emergency and it's saying, oh no, hang on, you've got a fire broke out, oh no, I need to place a fire station. Don't worry about that, that's perfectly fine. The other thing to remember is never be afraid to destroy houses if you need to place something down. It's not a bad thing, trust me. Now, what else have we got on the level 2? Got 1 hour and 6 minutes on the clock. Ugh, okay. Yes, shipyards. Now, shipyards pretty much speak for themselves. You build them and they build ships. Really is as simple as that. And you can build them technically anywhere, really, but obviously you like to build them against something. Having a shipyard is a good thing because it allows you to build ships so that if you need to set up a trading route, which I will be showing you now actually, in order to please because you'll notice that food now is split into two. Fish is fine, but they also need health food. In order to get health food, you need vegetables and rice, and then combine that into sushi. Now we have rice on this island, that's fine. We don't have any vegetables. Vegetables are on this island. Oh dear. Which means we have a choice. We can either come over to this island, which we'll be doing anyway. So we can come over here, we can set up a base and build vegetables. Have the vegetables transported over here, where we will be building rice. We can then build sushi building plants and have those shipped out to a warehouse. Or, and I'm going to show you the slightly more complicated way of doing things, we can plant rice on this island. Now I'm pretty sure I saw Trenchcoat have rice. Yes, Trenchcoat had rice seeds for sale. So, let's go buy those rice seeds. Let's take our unit. Time to go over here.
Well, just look at that. How's it going?
Buy the rice seeds.
Good deal.
There we go. Very good. Now, we've got the rice seeds, but we still need
Good
things
deal.
to be able to connect it to your depot. Word of advice, I wouldn't recommend planting seeds on your main island, for the main reason that you may need the space that the seeds are taking up for a tool that is actually useful to your main island. See? These are basically, you got your goods, which is all the items you've got coming in on the various levels. Then you have your items. These are things that give you bonuses. They can give you additional power, all sorts of things like that. Very, very useful. And then you can set up things for trade. I'll go on about that later. That's not fundamentally necessary to playing the game. However, in order to set up on another island, we need bricks and tools. We're going to need plenty of them. Now you want to build a place that's close, so I will build it here. Send your ship up. Ding. You can tell it to build a warehouse. So we shall build a warehouse. Now all the items on your boat automatically go to the warehouse. This is obviously a good thing. Now, if you go to the item section, you'll see that your rice seeds have been automatically deposited there. If you click it,
Registering new fertility.
rice can now be built on this island. Now the other reason why I did that is because this island has one of these beautiful little things. It's an eco-technology bonus. The eco level on this island is 250 plus 250. That's a good thing. Okay, so first thing we need to do is to build a warehouse where there's room to build stuff. Yeah, that'll do. First we shall have vegetables. No, because I need wood. I knew there was something I was missing. It was too easy, wasn't it? Send the ship back for wood. You will be doing this quite a bit for the record. You will be transporting things here, there and everywhere. Take those across there. And see, there's little point in having brick and tool productions on multiple islands. You might as well just have it on one island and transport it around when you need it. Now, if you look on the internet, at the Anno wiki, you can actually find plans for efficient setups, but I can't remember those off by heart, and this is just a
Fertility
demo
value
anyway.
rising.
So I'm going to be giving you a basic demonstration. Of what you need to do for this, if I can remember it correctly. Hang on, I need to connect it up with. Now you're more than welcome to pause it while you get things set up. That's perfectly acceptable. You're going to need a lot of vegetables. For some reason, vegetable isn't as efficient as rice. I don't actually know the exact reason for that, but it just isn't. Not the most efficient, but it's efficient enough, I think. Like I said, there's plenty of details for this stuff on the Anno wiki if you want to be very efficient with your building plan. Like I said, never be afraid to just bulldoze something. Particularly with these sort of side productions, because these things don't actually cost you anything to build. What am I looking for? The road. Okay, so there's our vegetable production. Now we need another warehouse. Again, don't be afraid to sort of just plonk a warehouse down in the middle of nowhere. Now we have some rice production. And rice, I'm sure, takes up a lot of fucking room. No, not there. Now, technically, you don't need as many rice fields as you do vegetable fields. Otherwise, you'll have a surplus of rice. But I like to keep things at the same level. So I'm going to be building 4 of these. So yes, that's all good. Hopefully that'll... let's get production going, that's one. There we go. Now, 4 production of each.
Registering energy shortage.
I'll deal with that in a minute. Energy. I'm gonna need some more tools. Hopefully this island will have built some. What do you want?
Could I ask you something?
Oh. Destroy the ship. Okay. Side quest. Yay. I'm fairly certain I saw it sneaking over here somewhere.
show's over, so it's sayonara.
Die. Alright, you're about to see some combat. Sort of.
Registering mainland.
Oh well, it's exploring the island at least. I don't know if that'll actually manage to kill it. That's a pretty tough looking vehicle. Oh well. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Nothing I can do about that.
Game save.
Here it goes. Time to die. Yay! You then get an item to pick up, which you then have to carry all the way back to your warehouse. Isn't it all fun? Never be afraid to just hold down the plus button while the ship's
Is that
zooming
a satisfied
around.
smile I'm seeing? Bingo! You're someone people...
Yay. Da, 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 da. Something over here. Get the tools off. Okay. So we have rice production and we have vegetable production. That's two parts of the three-step production. What we don't have is any of these. Let's turn you around. I have no idea how many of these I'm actually going to need, so I will guess 4. I can always turn them off or delete them at a later date. Anyway, they're going to go off, produce the sushi, or health food as it's called. There we go. Now, they're producing sushi, which is being stored here. But now we have a problem, don't we? Because we need to be able to get sushi from that island to this island. So let's build a freight ship. Goes around and round and round and round and round.
Vehicle completed.
One freight ship. Now, in order to get the items from this island to this island, you have to set up a trade route, which is this little circular thing here, I think. Is that the trade route? Yeah, that's the trade route. Comes up with a map of the area, and you can set up a trade route right here. New trade route. So you set it up. You then pick 2 islands. So obviously we want this island. We want this island. Helios and Aurelia. Okay. Now you can name your trade route if you want. Health, food, something like that. Now, slight word of warning, because it's a mistake I made when I was first setting up. Make sure you get the right order, because you have to make sure, because we want to load sushi and then offload sushi. Then once you've done that, you have to be sure to add the ship, because if you don't add the ship, it's not actually going to do anything. Simply having the trade route like that doesn't necessarily work. You have to tell it to actually build the ship. Once you've done that, the trade route will be set up. And the trade route will send the ship from one point, and then back, and it will dump off, and you'll see... Hold that thought. Okay. So, the trade route, and you'll see that now,
good of you to drop
once it
by
drops the
again.
stuff off, the sushi is going to go zooming up, hopefully. There it goes. Yay, up, 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 up. And the trade route will just happen automatically. Be aware that if you have people that don't like you very much, and they're at war with you on the map, they may decide to attack your trade route, so for God's sake, be careful. Aside from that, that mostly covers everything I think you need to know in terms of the basics. I'll just up the rest of this up. So basically it's about building your production chains, making sure they're close to a warehouse, so it's all nice and quick for you. Setting up setting up trade routes between your islands, so that you can have anything you need to have delivered and basically all
What
the
should I
stuff like
say?
that.
I'm doing great.
Okay, now we wait for the next set of people to come in. Okay, we're getting up to the 1.5 hour mark, so I'll be ending this video soon. I may do a second video. I haven't decided yet, actually. I probably will. Another thing to remember is, of course, that as you gain more people in your city, their
Sometimes I
needs
dream that I'm
increase
lying
with the
amidst lush
population.
green meadow, just
So
relaxing and
I've got 2
enjoying-
fisheries. I may find that 2 fisheries isn't enough at some point. I may find that as I increase my population, the amount of fish I've got coming in isn't enough to feed them. Seems to be enough at the moment. Tea seems to be okay at the moment, but you will need to increase the amount later on in the game. And ooh, hang on. It would appear that my production has stalled. Yes, because I've got full of everything. Thing to remember about that. You can pause the production of a building at any time by simply clicking on it and clicking this button here, big pause button, and that will pause production, and you'll be perfectly fine and happy, and everything will be cool and nice and good.
I wonder what you're planning to do next.
How many people do I need for the next level of... So I need 600, I need 750 for that, I need 750 for that, and I need 750 for that. So remember, you can only build buildings as long as you have enough people, so the game is kind of a mix of making sure you've got enough people to be able to build everything, but simultaneously keeping your people happy by actually building the buildings. You'll probably be hovering in terms of population. It's usually a good idea to overpopulate your group rather than underpopulate them, because if you, rather than just do the bare minimum, because that means you'll have tax coming in at a good amount. Again, this is just the tutorial, it's just an example to sort of show you what it is you need to do, okay? Hopefully this will have been helpful. If you have any questions or something, as I said, I probably will be continuing this at some point. It probably won't be directly because I'm going to have to make some room on my hard drive, but I probably will do a part 2 where we go into level 3 and level 4 citizens and scientists and all sorts of things like that. So hopefully this has been informative. Enjoy!